Here's the thing. Most people think that to earn respect, you need to speak more, prove yourself, explain yourself, justify yourself. But the truth? The most respected men, those who command attention the moment they enter a room, do the opposite. They speak less, way less, and what they say carries weight. Why? Because speaking less is not about being quiet. It's about choosing what matters to speak. Every word they utter is deliberate. Every silence is intentional. What this really means is that they understand a fundamental truth. Respect isn't earned by talking. It's earned by control over words, emotions, and presence. Think about it. When a man speaks constantly, filling every pause with noise, people tune him out. Words lose meaning when they're overused. But when a man speaks rarely, his words land like a stone dropped in still water, rippling far beyond what you expect. That's the power of silence. 1. Silence is a shield. Respected men use silence as a shield, not to hide, not to retreat, but to protect their energy and their authority. Every time you feel the urge to respond, especially when emotions are high, pause. Take a breath. Speak only when you have something worth saying. Here's the thing. The world will try to provoke you, draw you into meaningless debates, pull you into drama. Most people react immediately. The most respected men, they respond strategically, not impulsively. Silence is their armor. It shows self-control. It shows you are not a prisoner of your ego. And that commands respect. Think of a moment when someone insults you or questions your judgment. Your first instinct might be to defend yourself, to argue. But the most respected men often say nothing. They absorb the energy, observe and respond later, or sometimes not at all. Their silence makes others reflect, and more often than not, it unsettles the aggressor. Next time you feel triggered, pause. Count to 5 before speaking. See how your presence alone changes the dynamic. You'll notice people start treating your words and you differently. 2. Words become currency. Imagine words as coins. Every word you spend reduces your wealth. Speak too often, and your currency devalues. Speak rarely, and your words become precious. People start to listen. People start to weigh your words before dismissing them. Respected men understand that their voice is powerful. They don't waste it on gossip, petty complaints, or empty flattery. They reserve it for impact, for clarity, for influence. When you speak less, each word becomes a declaration, not a filler. And once people realize that, they start to respect you, not because you told them to, but because your presence alone speaks volumes. Think about mentors, leaders, or historical figures you respect. How often did they speak just to fill time? Rarely. Every speech, every word mattered. That's the standard you want to hold yourself to. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this necessary? Will this improve the conversation or situation? If the answer is no, remain silent. 3. Silence makes others reveal themselves. Here's a secret. When you speak less, others speak more. You create space for observation, for understanding, for insight. By listening, you learn what people want, what they fear, what drives them. You don't just hear words, you hear motives, intentions, weaknesses. Most men are too busy talking to notice, but respected men, they listen. And through listening, they gain influence without ever raising their voice. They gain power without aggression. That's why people naturally defer to them. They aren't loud, they are present, they are thoughtful, and they make every interaction count. Think of a meeting where everyone talks over each other. The one who listens most often ends up guiding the outcome, even without overtly leading. That's how respect and influence quietly grow. In conversations, try responding with questions instead of statements. Listen to the answers without judgment. The more you hear, the more subtle influence you gain. 4. Controlled speech reflects inner strength. There's a misconception that respect comes from asserting dominance or showing knowledge constantly. The truth is the opposite. Respect comes from restraint. Speaking less signals confidence. It signals that you don't need to prove yourself, that you are comfortable with who you are, and your actions carry more weight than your words ever could. Think about it. When someone interrupts or challenges you, your instinct may be to argue, explain, or correct. But the most respected men pause. They measure. They respond carefully. That restraint, especially in heated moments, screams strength. People feel it. People respect it. Consider how leaders behave in crises. Those who stay calm, who speak only when necessary, often earn loyalty and admiration. Chaos doesn't intimidate them. They observe, act deliberately, and let their words amplify their authority. The next time you feel defensive, pause, count to 10. Speak only to clarify, instruct, or uplift, not to prove a point. 5. Silence cultivates mystery. Ever notice how the most respected men aren't always fully understood? There's something magnetic about a man who doesn't lay all his cards on the table. Speaking less cultivates mystery. It forces others to pay attention because they want to understand. People fill the silence with their own assumptions, often inflating your presence in their minds. You become larger than life, not by boasting, but by restraint. That's subtle influence at its finest. Speaking less makes others lean in rather than tune out. It's quiet power, and few understand it. Avoid oversharing in casual conversations. Let your actions tell your story. People will naturally become curious about your principles, habits, and mindset. 6. Speaking less sharpens clarity. When you commit to speaking less, your words become precise. You learn to cut through noise, to get straight to the point, to speak with impact. There's no fluff, no filler, just essential, undeniable truth. Clarity is magnetic. It forces people to pay attention. It separates thoughtless chatter from meaningful insight. And once people recognize that every word you speak is intentional, they start to value it, sometimes more than anything else. Write down the key point you want to make before speaking in meetings or discussions. Stick to that point. Resist the urge to add unnecessary explanations. 7. Respect follows those who act, not talk. At the end of the day, respect is not given for talking. It is earned through action. But words guide perception. When you speak less, your actions speak louder. People notice the consistency, the discipline, the integrity behind your silence. You might see men who talk endlessly but accomplish nothing. Contrast that with a man who rarely speaks but consistently delivers results. Who do you respect more? It's obvious. Actions backed by careful speech create authority. Words alone never will. Let your results speak. Align your words with action. When people notice that your speech and action are synchronized, respect becomes automatic. 8. Additional principles for mastering quiet influence. Avoid arguing for the sake of winning. Respect comes from demonstrating composure, not ego-driven debates. Observe body language. Words matter, but presence is equally powerful. Posture, eye contact, and calm energy communicate authority without speaking. Embrace patience. Speaking less often requires patience. Let conversations unfold. Influence grows in measured, deliberate steps. Use silence strategically. Pauses are powerful. A well-timed pause can make your words echo, leaving an impact that lasts longer than a barrage of speech ever could. Here's the final thought. The world often rewards noise, immediacy, and oversharing. But the most respected men know better. They guard their words like treasures. They speak less, act more, and let presence replace persuasion. And in doing so, they command respect without demanding it, influence without force, and power without ego. So if you want respect, start by speaking less. Pause before you respond. Observe more than you speak. Let your words be measured, deliberate, and meaningful. Over time, people will notice, they will listen, and they will respect you, not because you forced it, but because you earned it the old-fashioned way, through control, presence, and discipline. Remember, speaking less is not weakness, it is mastery, it is confidence, it is power, and it is the hallmark of the men people truly respect.